Welcome to the Tuesday Live Show. My name is Jeff St. Laurent, and I assist coaches and help them transition to a full-time coaching business. And when I say full-time, that doesn't mean hours, like 40 hours. It means creating a full-time income that supports their lifestyle. So they not just have enough to pay for their financial obligations each and every month, but more than enough. Because we want more than enough so we can have fun. That's the point of earning money, right? So with that being said, I do record all these calls, and today's topic is how to manage your coaching income. And so with that, we want to understand how we can earn that income, but also what to do with it once we have it. So like I said, I record these shows and I put them on my website, sellingcoaching.com, under the university. So go ahead, check that out. Lots of great resources there, especially right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com. I have my great resource for you. It's the ultimate startup guide for new coaches. So if you download that, it's an audio and a PDF resource that goes along with it. So please check that out. That's also going to put you on my email community, and that's so you can get some great information from me on a weekly basis. And also, it's so you can start to understand and see how I communicate with my audience via email. That's one of the number one things that you're going to need to do wherever you're at within this coaching business journey of yours, is building your audience and staying in touch with them on a daily basis. I don't send daily emails, but I'm in front of you at least 3 times a week. So you want to be able to check out that and see how I do with that. And then lastly, if you're in a position where you know you require some help, I do offer one-on-one mentoring where I actually work with you, structuring your coaching business from A to Z, getting you set up with email, identifying your audience, getting you to market, then taking those leads and helping you convert those leads to paying clients. So if you need some help with that, or you want to find out more of how I can help you, just go to sellingcoaching.com under the Work With Me page and fill out the form at the bottom. I will then reach out to you and we can connect and create a relaxed conversation from there. So with that being said, let's jump right into this topic. And I'm excited about this topic today. And it's how I get excited about every topic, right? Why not, right? But it's how to manage your coaching income. And this is such a big topic because there's so many coaches out there who like, oh my God, I want to earn money. And not only do they just want to coach, but they want to have their own business. And there's the 2 elements of business that I like to see is there's one element of like, oh my God, I love coaching. And so that the task or the skill, whether it's, I came from the fitness industry. So maybe they love personal training. They love fitness. Maybe you're a chef, so you love cooking. You love the task. You love coaching, right? So there's the element of business as, oh, it's the doing part of it. So I want to become a coach and I want to have a coaching business because I love coaching so much. Great. That's awesome. So there's that half of the business. But if you take a task and you turn it into a business, there's the business side of it all. And that's typically where I come in, because it's one thing to have the skill set of coaching. You can be the most phenomenal coach in the world, but if you can't get your message to market, or know what your message is, or know what your market is, you don't know how to get a message to a market. And then once you get your message to market, if you can't take those people that are coming in, your audience, and create conversations and convert them to paid leads, the leads into paying clients, then you don't have a business. But then there's one step further, and so now you're earning money, whatever volume of money, but especially if you're earning more volume of money, it's, well, what do I do with that money? And it's like, people are like, oh, well, yeah, I want to earn lots of money, but okay, with earning money, there becomes a big responsibility. And it doesn't mean maybe you had a great high-paying job, et cetera. So hopefully you learned whatever you earned in the past. Hopefully you learn how to manage your money. And I'll say this as I'm moving to this topic today, I'm not coming at you as a financial advisor, as a financial guru or anything like that, more as a person, as a business owner who's been a business owner really since I've been in high school, because I used to do landscaping and painting. When I was doing that, I write invoices and I get paid in cash. Best thing in the world, right? But I don't know how to manage that money. And fortunately, my parents are good with money. I watch them, they're retired now and they're doing well, right? And then my best friend out of college was a financial advisor. So while other people are out, spending all their money, and usually when you're out of college and you get a job, it doesn't matter what you earn. You can work at McDonald's. You can feel like you're rich because, you're probably, maybe you're living at home and you don't have many expenses. So you earn what, $300-400 a week, and it's like, woohoo, now you're on top of the world. But wait till you get a car and a mortgage and a family and that adds up pretty quickly. So I'm not going to, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial advisor. But like I said, I'm coming at this from practical experience. So take that as my disclaimer, if you will, for the advice and the stuff I'm going to give you today. But these are more things you need to consider moving forward, because when we earn money, it's just, we're getting paid that much. So if a client hires you and they pay you, let's say $1,500, you know, $1,500 goes into your bank account, maybe $1,500 minus a credit card fee if you're using that. So take out 3%, and that's where that goes. But you have to remember too that $1,500, that 3% isn't necessarily taken out yet. It might come out as an automatic withdrawal later on at the end of the month. So we're getting that cash, if you will, right into our account, but that's not all our money, right? That's not all our money. That's what we got to realize. There's a lot of things we need to pay out, and I'm going to go over some of those things right now to consider, so you keep as much money as you get, and that's the important part about this, right? So with that being said, so we charge our clients and we get money. So first off, we got to think about how we're charging that money. So if we're getting cash, that's one thing. I'm not going to go into the cash thing and taxes and all that other stuff. So we're going to leave that animal off to the side. Just, we all know cash is king, and that's obviously the best scenario. But I don't advise you to take cash in your business as a coach at all. I advise you to take credit card payments. And the reason I advise credit card payments, I'm not going to go into the depth of it, but the main thing is taking that credit card payment over the phone. It's important because at point of sale, when someone's ready to buy after, let's say, a complimentary session, we need to get that credit card permission, charge their card so the money's in our account, because the number one rule of getting a client is, and those of you that are my students are saying this in your mind right now, hopefully, is that we do not have a client until we get paid, until the money's in our bank account. So that's why we take a credit card over the phone. I hang up. Guess what? I run that card. Now I've got a client. If you hang that phone up and say, oh, I'm going to send you a PayPal link, or I'm going to, send me a check, or whatever, Venmo, or whatever all these things are, it's like, you know what? They're going to disappear off the face of this earth, or the chances of getting that client have just significantly reduced. So you've got to get that payment. So let's just say we charge the credit card, and let's say that $1,500, to go with that number, goes into our bank account the next day. Great. So now what we got to account for certain things. So typically, if we're processing credit cards, roughly about 3% of that goes into, it's a fee for processing credit cards. That's the best fee you'll ever pay. I don't like it, but it's the best fee you'll ever pay, because it allows you to get the paid now, and that's important. So you have to make sure that when those fees are automatically deducted from your account. So I recommend something called authorize.net. What I'll do is I'll paste that in the link later on in the comments. And if you're watching this from if you're watching the show recorded, I'll also paste that information down below the video as well, so you have access to that resource. But I recommend authorize.net. So I know I think for me it's the 14th of every month that authorize.net takes that 3% of all the volume that I've processed for that month, right? So if I process X amount of dollars for the month, it's going to take whatever the percentage is, let's say 3% out on the 14th of the month, right? So if that's going to be $500 this month, I need to make sure that I have $500 in my account for when that comes out, right? Whatever $300 3% is, you need to make sure you have that rare. So right away, what I do is when I charge a client and they've hired me and I get that money, the first thing I do is I take 3%. No, I actually am paying a little less than that. I'm actually paying like 2.1%. So I've got a good rate on that. And if you're not happy with your rate, I know with authorize.net as well, you can call them and you can figure out, kick it out to other vendors, and maybe they'll offer you a better percentage. So either way, but what I do is I always take 3% out right away, and I put that in a fund. I have a specific fund for that, which is for my credit card fees, and that's where I have those fees taken out every month. So this way, in other words, you've got to pay these things out that I'm going to go over right now before you use the money, because whatever's left over, that should be discretionary income, but you've got to pay out all these things first. This is just a system I'm sharing with you, right? So we got this. So I take the 3% out for that, right? Then the next one, and again, this is something that I do that I'm sharing with you, is 25%. You're like, whoa, 25%. Take 25% of that, and guess what I do with that? I save it. That's saving. So I don't care where you are, and this is, again, I'm not your financial advisor, but a mentor of mine a long time ago said, he looked in my eyes, he says, Jeff, you save 25% of your income, and you'll never have to worry about money a day in your life. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. And so I've been saving since I got out of college. But, and again, it wasn't 25% back then. I was just saving money because my friend, my financial advisor friend, I was actually probably saving more than that back then because I was good. But the point is that 25%. And if 25% is too high for you and you're like, oh my God, all my money is going out to my mortgage and my rent or whatever else expenses you have, you need to figure out what percent you can save. So all I'm saying is that take your 3% out to pay your fees if you process your credit cards, and figure out, well, what percentage are you doing for your long-term savings? It's called retirement. Because there's one thing you got to realize is that as a coach, right? I mean, I don't anticipate stopping this. I mean, like I can see myself being old and doing this, just my Tuesday live show with a lot more gray hair and a lot more wrinkled face or whatever. But the point is that where if I'm traveling or whatever, I want to do this maybe in some capacity, but at some point I probably might be like, screw this, I'm done. I'm just going to like travel and do stuff and have fun. But where's that income coming from anymore? If I'm not working and I'm not doing this, right, we've got to have some money saved, right? Or you've got to have some plan. You're not going to rely on Social Security, and I'm not going to go into all that stuff. But the point is, what's your plan, right? So you've got to have some money or percentage of money that you're saving. So whatever that percentage is, be it 25% or 10% or 15 or whatever, hey, maybe it's 2%. It's a start, right? Whatever that is, guess what? From the $1,500 that you just got, right away, you take, let's just say, X percent, and you put that aside and you put that in for nothing else. Just put it in another described account that says long-term savings. Then you can figure out where if you're going to invest it from there, or you're just going to keep it for cash reserve or whatever, but put that aside. Take it out of there. You got to pay yourself first. Learned that a long time ago, right? So you get your percentage for long-term savings. You get your percentage for your credit card fees. Okay, what about taxes? All right, you've got to pay taxes. The worst thing you could do is think like, oh my God, I'm making all this money and I just made whatever, 10 grand this month. I just made 2 grand this month, whatever. I made $500 this month, whatever it is, and think that's your money. So at the end of the year comes tax season, and you're going to do your taxes. Well, what does that look like, right? So now you've earned, let's just say for the year, and let's just say it's your first year coaching and you earn, $20,000, let's say, right? So, well, you haven't paid taxes on that money. And yeah, hopefully you have some deductions where it offsets that, where maybe you shouldn't have to pay anything. But depending on what that is, you need to know how much money you're going to pay in taxes. So number one, what I'd recommend is if you don't already, talk to a certified public accountant, a CPA, and that's a person who understands the tax laws for your state where you live, because states vary, somewhat. Again, I don't know all the details. I have a CPA. He takes care of it for me. But bottom line is you need to find out, well, what can I deduct from my business? What do I have to track? When I come to you, in April or before that in March, and to file my taxes, I've got a business now. What do I need to track and show you so that I can have these deductions? Well, how do I show you my income? What do I show you for deductions? So you need to figure that stuff out. But either way, I still take out 20% of my income and I save it for taxes. That's what I do. I take 20%. And you can also find out based on what tax brackets you're in, and once you have more years under your belt. Like I've been doing this full time since 2004, and prior to that I had a personal training business that I was working, right? So I was going to a CPA, and so I started to understand that, but I had to understand it for my coaching business. But so once you've got a few years under your belt, you should have tax estimates based on what you've earned in prior years. But bottom line is just to find out, just go to a CPA, and you're probably going to start off in a 15% tax bracket, and then minus deductions is what you'll owe. But either way, maybe you start off saving 15%. Take 15% of your $1,500 and put it in a tax savings account, right? So you have your money aside. So eventually you'll start paying quarterly taxes, so you don't get a penalty. But the point is now is come tax time, the great part is when you're an employee, they do that for you. You get your paycheck and taxes is already taken out. Some places, if you get a 401k or investments, guess what? That money's already taken out for you. As an entrepreneur, nothing's taken out for you. So we've got to do that ourselves, right? So take that 15% out, or your 20%, or if you're earning more, maybe 25 or 35. It depends on the tax bracket you're in, right? And take that out. and put that aside. And then best case scenario, guess what? Your deductions came out and you save whatever, 5 grand, 10 grand for your taxes. I don't know what it's going to be for you, but the point is you have that money set aside come tax time, and guess what? Your deductions outweighed your blah, blah, blah. And you have to pay $1,000. Great. And you save 5,000. Great. So now you have $4,000 in there. It's not just, hey, let's just go throw a party. Well, that's money for a business. Great. So maybe now you've already got $4,000 saved for taxes for next year, or maybe that's something that you save on top of that. So now you put that in your long-term savings or whatever. You buy a new computer because yours is old, or you hire me as your mentor coach. Right? Either way, I had to throw that in there. So the point is that you've got that money saved and it's there. So come tax season, I'm telling you, when you start earning a lot more money, I'm telling you, when you get a tax bill in multiple 5 figures, it's not fun if you don't have that money saved. Let's just put it that way. So the point is have that money saved, so you're saving money for taxes now, all right? So now you have other expenses. So we need to know what our expenses are. And then, again, this isn't a financial lesson here for you, but take it for what it is you need to know where your money is going in and out every week, really, in your business. Ideally every day. If you're not getting clients every day or things like that, I mean, I'm checking my income every single day. Whenever I'm earning clients, where am I for the month, where I need to be, where do I want to be? I've got goals every month that I'm doing, and I'm tracking that stuff. In the beginning, it's not like you're getting leads and getting clients every day. And so you can start working on that, but at least every week you need to know where you're at, right? In terms of where your earnings are, where you need to be for every month, etc. So, I mean, I do this with my son. I printed this off. This is my son's, his name is Keaton. It's Keaton's monthly budget, right? And he's got on the first page, he's got income, and he's got responsibility. So he's got a weekly salary of $25. So it's a $100 monthly salary. And these are the responsibilities that he has for his salary. He also has a work rate of $10 an hour for other tasks that he can earn money. That's his total monthly income, right? I'm showing you this for a reason. This is his, where is this? These are his expenses. Yes, my son pays rent. He pays $35 a month to live here. He has utilities. He's got his Xbox Gold membership. He's got food and transportation, right? So these are theoretical expenses for him. But then look down here. Look at this. Long-term savings, 25% of total monthly income, right? And then, in terms of spending, he can spend what he wants. But guess what? He's got his own bank account. Actually, I shouldn't show his bank account information, but this is his bank account information, and this is long-term savings, monthly expenses, and his primary savings. But the point is that what he does is he gets his salary every Monday. His expenses for his rent and all that stuff come out on the first of the month. So I directly deposit into his account on the Monday of every month the $25, and he's got to allocate. He's got to pay himself first. He's going to take 25% of that, put it into his long-term savings. He's going to have, by the first of the month, he's going to have $60 in there, because that money's going to come out and go back into my account, because he's going to pay his rent and he's going to pay his utilities and food and stuff, right? So he's going to make sure he has $60 in that account by the first of the month, right? And then once he's paid all that stuff out, whatever's left over in his primary savings, guess what? That's discretionary income, right? Because he's already saved. I don't have taxes in there yet, but that's the advanced version. He's 12, so I'm going to take it step by step. But eventually, he's paid himself, he's saving, and he's paying off all his expenses. So as of right now, if he's not earning any more money, he's got $15 a month that he can do whatever the heck he wants with. I don't care what he does with it, because guess what? He's saving, he's doing all that other stuff. So same thing with you is the same thing here. I went over those things, but now what's your rent, or what's your mortgage? What are your utilities? What are your, other expenses, your cell phone? Like, track all that stuff. Figure that out. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. What's coming in, what's going out. So know those numbers. You need to know that for your regular household expenses, but also for your business, right? You're paying whatever, $19 a month for Aweber. Maybe you've got lead pages, and that's whatever, $40 a month. You're paying your website. Lynn Coffey, who I recommend as a web designer, you're paying her, $100 a month, for web service, etc. So what are your monthly expenses in your coaching business, right? So figure that stuff out. And what I'd say is take that money and pull it out, right? Or if you're not pulling it out of that $1,500, right, what you're doing is let's say let's say your monthly mortgage is, let's just say $1,500 a month, right? So your mortgage, and some of you are probably like, oh my God, I wish my mortgage was only $1,500 a month, right? But either way, let's say it's $1,500 a month. So when does your mortgage come out? On the first of the month? Great. So, have an account that says mortgage payment, right? So as you get paid, all you got to do is, like my son, he's got $60 it has to be in there by the first of the month. So make sure $1,500 is in there by the first of the month. So that's what I like to do with my mortgage. I just take it, and when I get paid, sometimes I'll take out the taxes, I'll take out this, I'll take out my savings, and then if I've got left over and I haven't saved my mortgage yet for the first of the month, and maybe with this client, I'll take that and I'll put that into my mortgage account, because my mortgage is going to come out on the first. So once I've got that, once my money's in there for the mortgage, let's say it's $1,500. Once $1,500 is in there, my mortgage is paid for the month, right? It's not going to come out until the first, but I know that's done, right? So I'm paying myself all these things, so I know they're taken care of, right? This is just a system. This is just a process that I use. I'm sharing. I don't care if you use this or not. I'm just saying this is how to manage your coaching income. So again, you're not just saying, oh wow, I got $1,500. You know what, I'm going to go on a trip and I'm going to use that money, or I'm going to spend that money, because now all of a sudden you haven't accounted for all these things. Because here's what's going to happen is, if you don't do this stuff and you're like, well, maybe I don't save, maybe I want to save for taxes or blah, blah, blah. But if you don't do this stuff, what's going to happen is, even if you earn a little bit, right? If you're a little bit or a lot, or especially a lot, you're going to get to the end of the year and you're going to have used all this money, and now you're going to have a big tax bill, or you're going to have to pay for other things. And then you're going to have to use a credit card, and you're going to start accruing debt for some of this stuff. So you hire a mentor coach, and then you're going to, I'm going to do a website, right? So if you've got funds allocated for that stuff, what you can and can't buy, or maybe you have to use some debt. I'm not saying debt's a bad thing if you have a plan to pay it off, and if it's at 0% or a very low interest rate. But the point is that if you have that, you can at least have a plan to pay that off. So you borrowed $1,000 to do your website, okay, because you didn't have the cash. Okay, great. So how are you paying that off, right? So now you got to pay yourself out of that money that you're earning each time, and figure out, where am I allocating this money? So don't fool yourself into thinking, oh, I just made whatever $1,500 with a brand new client. Okay, well, where is that money going? Where is it allocated towards? And the whole point of this is to just make sure that whatever money you're earning has its place, so you can be successful long term. Because if you keep doing that and keep making those mistakes, like literally, if you start, all of a sudden things are going to start to click, right? All of a sudden you're going to start getting more leads. You're going to start really understanding the sales conversation. You're going to start converting more clients. You're going to jack your prices up a little bit, right? You're going to start making more per client, right? And all of a sudden you went from making nothing to 500 to 2,000 to 5,000 a month to 10,000 a month. I just had a client, he just did $12,000. His first, he had a couple 5-figure months that he worked. He did $12,000. He sold out a program, right? And I'm like, dude, we got to get on the phone and figure out what you're doing with that money, right? So as my clients start earning more money, like I got to help them figure out what they're doing with that money, because all of a sudden you got 12 grand kicking around in your account, and maybe you've never earned that much before, right? Or what are you going to do with that? You got to figure that out quickly, because I will tell you, when you start earning more money, just like more of anything, there's more food. When things are more abundant, when you've got more, you fill in the blank, you've got more time, you've got more energy, right? Anything for that matter, you start using things a lot more freely. So when you start earning more money and there's an extra zero at the end of the paycheck, it's just like, oh, all of a sudden things that were expensive before don't seem as expensive anymore. And all of a sudden options start opening up. But the reality is you have to account for this stuff, because guess what? You could have a $12,000 month. You could have a $12,000 day, but that's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day. Or what if it doesn't happen the next month? What if it's another 3 or 4 months before you get another client? Been there before. I've had a multiple 5-figure day before at an event before, and then it was like another 6 weeks, 8 weeks before I got another client out of it, because it's like I was so busy doing this stuff when my marketing stopped. So you've got to account for that stuff. Entrepreneurship's not just like, oh great, I just earned X and now I'm going to earn X again next month or next day. You've got to be aware of those things, and that's why I'm so diligent with this, because I'm doing this since 2004, and like I said, beyond that, before that with my fitness industry, and then also when I was in high school and budgeting my money. So these are some of the strategies that I use to make sure I stay in business, so that all of a sudden now I don't go spend money and all of a sudden now I'm in so much debt and I can't afford this stuff, because that stuff could put you out of business. That could put you out of business because you're so stressed financially, and all of a sudden, guess what? clients aren't rolling at that speed, guess what? Now you got to go back and get a job because you need money to pay the mortgage and blah, 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 and your tax bill and all that other stuff. And you know what? You're not getting clients on a regular basis. So guess what? Where's that money coming from, right? You either go to default, go bankruptcy or whatever, or short sell your house. Anyways, I won't get into that stuff. But the point is, follow this, come up with where you're paying yourself first, get that out of your account, and then at the end of the month, whatever's left over, if there's anything left over, have fun. And hopefully this is helpful for you. And lastly, again, before I go, if you're in a position where you know you need some help with this and you want to have those consistent, forget about the $12,000 months, is how about consistent $500 months or $1,000 months, right? It's just like those are just as good as the 5-figure months because they're consistent and you're starting a system, and all it is ramping up your system from there. If you know you need some help with that and you are considering mentor coaching or you know you need that structure, go to sellingcoaching.com, go to the work from your page, fill out the form, connect with me, and let's create a conversation from there.